guys, Ralph here, and welcome to True Power Trumpet Fitness on this thrilling Thursday here in Connecticut. Life's good, campers. Life is good. Any of you that had the wonderful, wonderful experience of tuning in yesterday, saw that there was nothing there other than a picture of Pavel. Anyway, with that said, we are going to do that video again. Okay, so reenactment of what you missed. Anyway, you saw the thumbnail, practicing for endurance. Big part of the whole thing. Big part of the whole thing. And I know a lot of guys get really off track doing this one thing. Basically, it's practicing too much. All right? Anyway, haven't played a note. 250 swings. Haven't even been on the bike. It's a beautiful day. I got a late start. But let's see what we got, and we'll talk about endurance. Now, the opening salvo is important to my whole thing, so pay attention to it. Okay? Don't skip over it. Ooh, I got a sticky valve. Sticky valve, let's do something else. Anyway, don't need no stinking warm-up, and we'll get back to that familiar theme in a minute. But here's the deal. Whether it be E-flats above double C, I was going to dazzle you with a little Brandenburg, but the valve was stuck. So I aborted the mission and went to the third movement of the iconic Haydn Concerto. Anyway, this came about when one of my pals, Nick, I'm not sure if it was a comment, you might have seen it if it was, or an email, but he says, one of the things I love so much is when you say, let's see if I've got anything left, and you kill notes above high C, double C. Okay, I should probably come clean with that. I know those notes are coming out. Okay, I should probably say that and wink. But when I say that, it's always after quite a long practice session. Now, I'm not doing the 3 to 5 hours anymore. The one in question was about 2.5 hours. All right? And after the 2.5 hours, I'm going to tell you, to a certain degree, I'm as fresh as a daisy. Okay? Now, let's do this. Start with my man Pavel, who used to train Olympians back in Russia. Now, the Russian Olympic powerlifters, they dominated the Olympic Games and the World Championships and everything for a long time. Practiced a certain way, and I've talked about this before, but I want you to know where we're starting from, because it all comes back to this. And that is, now, I'm not talking bodybuilders. I'm talking powerlifters, Alexeyev, the whole 9 yards. Just brute men who can deadlift 1,000 pounds, clean and jerk, and then flop down into a flat split. Incredible, incredible athleticism. All of them are morbidly obese. They're way overweight, but they are so strong. Anyway, I digress. And what they do to train is, let's say they're going 1,000 pounds on a deadlift. They go 70% of their max. So 70% of 1,000 pounds, 700 pounds. All right? And they will lift that once. once. One rep of one. Okay? And they'll take a break. No rhyme or reason to the break. There might be a coach hanging around that says, "Hey, back to it, Vasily. Let's go." No rhyme or reason to it. And guys, I'll get to that with my playing as well. Then they'll do another one rep. Now, what are they doing? There's two things that are very, very important. Number one, 70% of max is their happy zone. They are not straining one bit. That sounds like a lot of weight to you and me. They are not straining one bit to deadlift 700 pounds. They're under 70% of stress, but they're not busting anything. All right? They're in their happy zone. And two, probably more important than that, they are fresh as a daisy every single time they are underweight. Guys, and you have to, when you are doing that, you have to make sure your chops are fresh as a daisy when you're doing it. When you start to crash, stop. That's a given. But when you start finding that your 70%, your happy zone starts to come down a little bit, now you're rolling at 65%, stop. You're breaking down. Stop. You are ruining muscle. Okay, now, if you have any of my books, which if you don't, I strongly suggest you do. I've written over 50 books on trumpet. That may be the best, according to Jerry. Anyway, I don't give anybody a specific routine. I like Arbin. You want to do Clark like Doc Severinsen, and you want to do just Dizzy Gillespie tunes like John Fast, whatever you want. You want to do Brandenburgs. Whatever you want. I do not give routines. 10 minutes of this, and then you take 10 minutes of off, and then you go to Clark, and then on every Wednesday or Thursday, you try for your high notes. And after the high notes, you want to offset that by going, that bogus nonsense. Okay? You play whatever the heck you want to play, but just make sure you're doing it correctly. Now, to prove a point, I'm going to make a hypothetical practice session. This is not what I do every day. There is no rhyme or reason to what I do every day. All right? So hypothetically, let's say I get up and I do all my high notes. Feel great. I go to the Arbin characteristic study, which is all in my happy zone, number one. And gee, I go right from the beginning to the end without even batting an eyelash. It just flies out. Okay? So like Alexiev and the weightlifters, I'll take a break. No rhyme or reason to it. I'll go get something. I've always got my juice. Maybe we'll get a cup of decaf tea. I love decaf tea. Make a smoothie. Give my wife a hug. Watch a little, Sports Center, whatever. No rhyme or reason to it whatsoever. I might just stay down there and keep going. Okay? I can't stress enough, this is not a prescription for success. This is just a hypothetical to prove a point. Then, when I come back to it, I'll spit buzz, I'll do a little kettlebell, I'll go back to it, I'll do the exact same thing again. This time, I might crash in about 75% of the way down. Stop. Stop. Take a break, spit buzz, reset, come back to it, and then do the other 25%. Stop. Spit buzz, reset, do some kettlebells, get some more juice, no rhyme or reason. Then I come back and I do it again, and let's say I'm going to get 50%. Stop, spit buzz, reset, pick up where I left off, and let's say I can't do the other 50%. Let's just say I do another 20%. I'm crashing. Okay? Then I do it again. By 2.5 hours, guys, what I'm telling you, let's see if I've got anything left. I know I've got something left. It might only be 2 lines. That's all I've got left before I start to crash. Now, here's the thing. Practicing this way, systematically like this, again, I don't like to say system because it's actually quite random, but practicing in this regard, like Olympians, Russians, you are always fresh. On every note you play, you are always fresh. The minute your happy zone starts to depress, stop. You're done. You're done for the day. All right? Now, 2.5 hours later of just doing this, always being fresh, my chops get better and better and better. They get much more resonant. It's like I'm blowing the trumpet off my hand. It's just so much ease of playing. Flexibility better. Multiple tonguing. Stagers like. All right? But what happens if I were to go back to that Arban etude, again, I might only be able to play one line or two lines. But it feels fantastic. After 2.5 hours, and I'm telling you, after 2 hours, you heard how great the chops sounded and how resonant they were. I could literally do another 2.5 hours. Can and want to are two different things. But after 5 hours, there's a real good chance I might only be able to play a measure at a time, literally, without crashing. But as long as you don't let yourself tighten up, endurance is the ability to stay relaxed over a period of time. Okay? I've done the whole thing with holding the relaxed arm. I won't do it again. Okay? Practicing for endurance is not about just mashing your chops and seeing how long. Every single other, from Claude Gordon to everybody, gets this wrong. This is not how you develop muscle. You ask Pavel, you ask any Russian strength, that is not how to do it. Not how to do it. If you just keep it there, keep it there, keep it there, you are breaking down muscle. Then you end up looking like bodybuilders. Bodybuilders has big, striated muscles, but they can't move. There isn't a top bodybuilder anywhere that at my advanced age, a top one, the world champion bodybuilder, that can beat me in any sort of a race. They can't move. They can't throw a baseball. The ball will just fall out of their hands. Now, that's for something, not for what we want. Strength, flexibility, and endurance. Done like the Russians. Garaveks, man, those who do kettlebell. All right? All right. We'll talk again. This got long-winded, but that's it. Love you all.